Trenton 365 with Jacque Howard. Profiling the businesses, organizations, and people that make Trenton better.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the Trenton 365 Show. I'm your host, Jacque Howard. The website, Trenton365.com, Facebook, Trenton 365 Show, and you can follow us on Twitter as well at Trenton 365. WIMG is the first station to have the Trenton 365 Show, and I'm proud of that. The Stellar Award-winning station for the two-time Stellar Award-winning station. You can follow us on Twitter at WIMG1300 and the website WIMG1300.com. And you're watching on television via WPHY Channel 25, covering all of Mercer County, New Jersey. In the studio with me is Shenette Gray and also Stacy Heading. We're going to get into the information about who they are, and then we're going to talk about a bunch of different things that they're doing. These are two people who are committed to the city of Trenton, who I've known for years, and Shenette, her relationship with me is a little bit different because her husband is a childhood friend of mine, and we go back many, many years. Not that far. You can't tell by my beard. But anyway, we've got a lot of information to get out to you about some positive things that are taking place in the capital city of New Jersey. And the most important thing, folks, is for you to follow up with us, all three of us. The contact information is critical for you to follow up with us so that you can get connected. It's fine to look on television and hear over the radio waves, but what we need is more people to be engaged in the process of building a better community. And the best way to do that nowadays is simply put by getting in touch when you have the information that's there. So ladies first, Shenette, welcome back to the Trenton 365 Show. In the last capacity, you were here via I Am Trenton. So why don't you just give a little information about who you are, and then we can proceed from there.
Okay. My name is Shenette Gray, and I live in Trenton. And I am the director of R.E.A.C.H Youth Institute, on the board of I Am Trenton, and on the Housing Authority board, so I'm vested in the community.
Excellent. And Stacy Heading, for the folks who don't know you,
right.
So Stacy and I, we go pretty far back. I mean, we kind of grew up with the same groups of people in the 80s, hanging out and doing different things in the Mercer County area. But in addition to that, he's been working for the R.E.A.C.H organization for many years. Right. And the R.E.A.C.H organization is one of those critical organizations here in the city of Trenton with over 30 years, a 30-year track record, doing lots of different things to improve the community and supporting self-reliant communities. And a big shout out to Marty Johnson, founder and CEO of the organization, who's been a great friend of mine for many years and a mentor as well. So Stacy, over to you, sir.
So I'm Stacy Heading. I am the evening program coordinator for R.E.A.C.H Youth Institute. I'm also the founder of Heal the City Trenton, and I'm also the founder of the S.E.E.D mentoring program.
Excellent.
And so, yes, I am with here today to talk about some things and some new initiatives with R.E.A.C.H Youth Institute. As you said earlier, I've been with them going on 8 years now. Seems like forever, but this is a great organization. I've learned a lot from them, and through R.E.A.C.H I was able to branch off and do some pretty cool things in the community.
And cool things. I don't know if people will know what the magnitude is of those cool things, because all of us who are actively involved in the community organizers and activists, have our hands in lots of different things, whether it's our faith community, where we worship or whatever. But I have a higher regard for the people who are touching youth. Right. Especially young children, first, second grade on up, because that's a lasting impression. Right. And that's something that you've been doing for a very long time. Right. So kudos to you publicly for that as well.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's talk about the city of Trenton, first of all, and some of the simple things about it. I mean, it's a post-industrial city. It has some challenges like any urban environment does. And oftentimes people get displaced or get put in a box who live in Trenton. Right. And Shenette, you being an educator, why don't you just give an overall summary about that and then tie in R.E.A.C.H Youth Build?
So I have a passion for young people, especially those who are disconnected and disengaged for a number of reasons. I think what we fail to realize is that, and I say this all the time, that the young people that we serve are probably the most resilient group of people I know, and I say this, their bounce back game is so tight, or they have the ability to have like a great bounce back game because they have been faced with many situations that they had to navigate through that me being a 40-something plus adult would not have the skills at that age to navigate. So that's what I want to know. I want folks to know, don't look at our young people as poor, they're disengaged, or they can't fend for themselves. They have a lot of street knowledge, which we need to help them transfer into real applicable knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that you mentioned street knowledge and also the resilience and the navigation skills that the young people here in Trenton and other post-industrial cities have, because that's a resource.
It is.
That's a talent.
Right.
And we've got to evolve as a culture to say, okay, so-and-so may not have had the opportunity to do a structured learning session.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that their level of intellect is not high.
Absolutely.
So prior to going to ILS, you were also a principal.
Yes.
In the Trenton Public School system as well. Just talk a bit about how this is all tying in your education leadership in education.
So I had the privilege of being the principal at Daylight Twilight High School, which is the alternative school for Trenton. And again, just serving the most vulnerable population of our city. So what happens at Daylight Twilight is those young people who haven't been successful at West or Main, they come to Daylight Twilight, or if they're overage, just transferring in. And so what Daylight Twilight provides young people is the opportunity to secure and gain credits if they were let's say misbehaving freshman year. So they have the opportunity to recoup those credits. So and that works for some people, some young people. The beauty about ILS is for those young people who are not committed to putting in the time at a Daylight Twilight or West or Main, they can come to us and get their GED. The beauty about a GED, I know a lot of people say, oh, a GED isn't the same as a diploma, and it isn't. There is a difference. However, that paper, you can take it wherever you want to go. You can take it to the Army. You can take it to four-year college. You can take it to Mercer County College. You can take it to a job. So it's still you still can use it and be a productive citizen and earn a livable wage.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, Stacy, I'm going to swing it over to you now. And you said you've been involved with ILS Youth Build Institute for approximately eight years or so. How did you get involved, and what drew you to ILS Youth Build Institute?
Well, a good friend of mine named R.E.A.C.H Blackwell, she was in charge of education, and I was just sharing earlier, I was working at Bristol-Myers Squibb, and I was at Bristol-Myers Squibb for maybe like 8-9 years, and I got laid off. But through my church, when we started the S.E.E.D mentoring program, I was working with the youth, and so I did this big community sports expo at Trenton Central High School. So I rented out the back of Trenton High, and we had like Irvin Fryer and other professional athletes, and Terrence Cawthon, who was an Olympic bronze gold medalist, boxing. So we had all of these different stations and silos for this event. And so I said, wow, I think I got a knack. I like working with the youth. You know, it started off at the church. So a position became open at ILS, and R.E.A.C.H Blackwell, who is now a lawyer, right here from, Trenton, New Jersey, from Martin Luther King Boulevard, went back to school to become a lawyer. I just wanted to throw that in. But she vouched for me without, too much of experience. But what happened was I had a big article in the Trenton Times, like a full page. So I bring that with me to the interview. So I'm talking, and it's in my bag, right, Jacque, and I'm acting all unassuming. They're like, so I said, I think I got something. I pulled it out. And I sat it down, and and they read some of the good things that the community and the people were saying, and then they just took a chance with me. And I'm telling you, it was one of the best decisions that I made, because through I.E.L.S., then it started growing like my S.E.E.D, my mentoring program, because I wouldn't have had that experience. And then also Heal the City. So I.E.L.S. do a lot of community planning and a lot of things in the community. In my first 3 years, as you know, and some of the events we did together with I.E.L.S., I was working closely with Marty and just watching how he maneuver and how he do things and the connection. And then I just took that, and then I just started, following some of the same suit.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell the audience about an experience that I had with you with I.E.L.S. Youth Build. So I'm serving on the board of the I.E.L.S. organization, and I'm deeply committed to the organization. And we're doing something over at I.E.L.S. Youth Build, and Stacy's there, and we're chatting and things, and a young man, and I can't even remember exactly what he did, and it wasn't anything dramatic,
right?
But the way you handled it,
right? You
went over to him, and I'm trying to think of the exact words, but I'm going to paraphrase it. But it was something to the degree of, what you're supposed to be doing, right, and you're not doing it. Mm-hmm. And that's all you said.
Yeah.
This young man's facial expression changed, his posture, his demeanor, everything changed. And I was watching, I said, we need dozens of Stacys throughout the city and different organizations that are doing things to be able to connect with young men, so that they
appreciate that.
And just recently I was having a conversation with a friend about how important it is to have people who look like you in positions of leadership and in positions of authority, just because psychologically it does something to you. And that was a real world example that like the board members, we call that mission moments.
Right.
And that's what that was. I mean, you literally, all you had to do is make a statement to a young man, and he got it.
He got it.
And I hope that he took that as a life lesson, and that's changed him for the rest of his life, because it changed my perspective watching how you conduct your group of people, your children, your youth that you're helping to lead. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for that story. I appreciate it.
Yeah, take that back, man. Take that back, because even to this day, it gets me excited. So I.E.L.S. has a bunch of programs going on constantly.
Right.
So what are some of the things that are happening right now?
So for myself, so I run the evening program, and it's really life skills, and it is designed to couple the GED, so our kids get an education, they get a GED, and we know, Jacque, that's just not enough. So now here I come with the life skills. Put some things in place that can make them employable, that can make them just good people, civil, young men and women. So I have the pleasure of designing programs that I know that is going to help them, And so one of the things that we do, we have a driver's license class that we do. We help the kids get their driver's license so they can be, more employable. We do recreation. We may go to the Hamilton Y, go out to a nice, you've been to the Hamilton Y, very diverse, and let them see what it's like to go to the Hamilton Y. What is proper gym wear? See, and I get a little deep. I go as far as that with the kids. Like, so if you're trying to go to the Hamilton Y in your khaki pants and your Timberland boots, and then when people come to approach you, now you don't know how to handle it, and you think people picking on you, but then I'll just give them a real life moment. Look around. Look how everybody's dressed. And so going to the Hamilton Y, they need to have a gym bag. They need to have their gym wear. If they don't have it, you can't go to the Y, and you can't play basketball. But those are life skills. Those are the moments that they appreciate and they understand. We do arts, and we go to McCarter Theater and a lot of plays over there. We just did an African drumming class with Baye Kemet, and that was great, and where they just, do drumming and learn how to be consistent. So it's a 6-week drum class, and we need to see the same 6 people there, and we talk about consistency. How can you be consistent, and how can that help you? So there's so many things we do in the evening program. I think I.E.L.S., because they allow me to work it the way I need to work it, that's going to help these young people be successful.
Mm-hmm. And, cultural diversity is something, again, I think it's one of those buzzwords right now, but it is very critical, because if you take someone who hasn't experienced
Right.
when you go to work out,
Right.
this is the proper attire.
Yes.
Now, there could be a lot of reasons why you
Right.
don't have the proper attire. Maybe you just don't have the proper clothing, you
Right.
don't have a gym bag.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is providing an opportunity for them, like you said, to think about it. Okay, well, when I go to the gym,
Yeah.
I know I have to have my bag.
Right.
And I have to have sneakers.
Yeah.
And I've got to have proper clothes. I
Right.
can't go work out in jeans.
Right.
And another example of this, and I don't want to take over the whole interview,
Right.
but another example was there's a young man who was at the R.E.A.C.H Youth Build Institute, and at one of the golf fundraisers, the golf outings that R.E.A.C.H does annually, he was someone who had never been to a golf course before, and he was at the tee box, and he was with Marty when Marty does his little par 3 competition thing or whatever. I saw him probably about 2 or 3 months ago, and I recognized him, but I couldn't pinpoint exactly where I knew him from.
Right.
But he came over and said, I met you on the golf course at R.E.A.C.H. He said, I've never been on a golf course before,
Right.
and it was amazing.
Right.
And he just kept on moving. He was dressed
Right.
up in his business attire. I assume he was going to work.
Yeah, right.
But I was like, there we go.
Yeah.
Another mission moment.
Right,
And he
right.
said, yeah, Mr. Stacy, remember we were on the golf course? I'm
Right.
like, oh,
Right.
Yeah.
there you go. I want to bring it back to you, Shenette, and talk about, so again, the cultural diversity. I mean, you've been an educator for many years, and not just an educator as a teacher, but also as a leader in an institution.
Yes.
So the cultural diversity that oftentimes children in urban environments, can you just talk about that experience and about how important it is for us to realize that the education that they need to have to be successful in functioning in society, it may be a little bit more because they don't have those. Sometimes they don't have those basic services or opportunities as some people do. Like the family structure just may be different. Can you just talk about that and kind of bring it together? I know I was all over the place with that.
So Stacy stated that he's the evening program coordinator, and Stacy does much more than that. Through the evening program, we're able to allow our students to experience different cultures. So many people may not be able to or have the resources to attend McCarter Theater. So they're able to go and see what production did the most recent production. Was it August Wilson?
Yep, August Wilson.
It wasn't Fences. Was it Fences?
It was Fences.
Okay,
Yep.
so they were able to go and see that.
Yep.
Great play. And what we also, through not only through the evening program, but through just the way our staff, they touch our young people, we have to teach our young people how to code switch. And, just because, and they do code switch, and Stacy will tell you, the way they behave in the building is different than the way they behave outside. The way they behave at McCarter Theater is different than the way they behave in our building. So they have the ability, and what we do is afford them the opportunity to develop those skills.
Mm-hmm. And I like how you mentioned that, and I haven't heard that term, code switching.
Yeah.
And some people may characterize that as something like being fake or not genuine. But culturally, everyone does that.
Yes.
You're different with your family than you are with your friends. And you're different when you're with your close male friends, I'm speaking to Stacy, than you would be if we went out as a couple with our spouses. So it bothers me when we can agree on that. And I think most people would agree that, hey, they're different at work than they are when they're at home. Well, why then is that so difficult to accept that same ideology when we're talking about children who are disenfranchised or who have grown up in a difficult situation or in a challenged situation? Actually, I think that we should be giving them more credit for the ability to say that, I'm coming from a situation that's one way, but I can look beyond that because I am beyond that, and I can function in lots of different other elements. So I'd like to actually see more people start thinking about that code switching. I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to have to follow up on that. We may have to start a hashtag campaign on that code switching, and how important it is. And to drill down on that a little bit more, I've got some friends who are British, and a lot of times they speak in slang when we're hanging out, and people, oh my God, their accent is so great. I'm like, but if I were to say it,
right.
I'd be criticized for it. Well, it's the same exact thing,
right?
And I think that's part of the idea of institutional racism and all those other things, and the fact that it's used as a way to oppress a group of people. Maybe some of us we have an N on the end of every word, because we have a southern drawl or something like that, but that doesn't have anything to do with our intellectual capabilities, etc.
Exactly.
So you spoke, Stacy, about some of the other programs like the life skills, etc. But I want to bring it back and talk about Owls Youth Build as in general. It's co-ed.
Yes.
And what are some of the ages of the youth?
So I'm glad. We get into that. So right now we're having open enrollment right now as we speak, because the good things that we offer, these great things that we offer, we're trying to get it out to the community, get it out to everyone. I don't think everyone know, and I'm saying if you come and take advantage of this, your life will never be the same. And so the ages right now is from 17 to 24 years old. So that's 17 to 24 years old. We have open enrollment. You can contact us at ILS.org. You can go online, ILS.org. And if you go, you'll see this beautiful graduation that ILS had that I put together. It was nice, though, the video. But so young kids can see that, because that's what ILS do. We give them a graduation at the end. Most didn't get a chance to graduate. You hear them say sometimes like, man, I haven't graduated since 6th grade.
Right.
Or 5th grade, what? And so, this is their chance. We put together a lovely graduation for them, and we invite all their families out, and we have food and have a celebration. And it brings a lot of them to tears, because, they was like, well, I thought this, that this chance was over, and I'll never get a chance to have this chance. And so, again, let me get back to contact us at ILS.org or 609-341-4751. We have an open enrollment. If you know anyone that wants to get their GED and then be prepared for employment, get ready for employment, and eventually get a job, right? Because that's kind of what's going on a lot in this community now. We know what poverty is doing right now to our people. So we're going to help them out. We're going to put some cushion to it by educating them and also getting them a job.
Can I just add?
Please.
On to what Stacy mentioned, we are in partnership with the Mercer County One Stop.
Right.
And so the beauty about the partnership is that once the young people have gone through and received their GED and gone through the life skills and job training, we transfer them to the One Stop, and the One Stop, they will do some in-house training and then place them in a job, or place them in an internship, or they even have an opportunity for local business owners or business owners to provide on-the-job training for our young people, and they pay their salary for 6 months. So it's a great opportunity, and I'm excited about the partnership with Mercer County One Stop.
And I'm glad you brought that up, the partners. I'd like for you in a moment to just rattle off some of the partners that's working with Owls Youth Build Institute and so forth. But partnerships are critical to anything that we do from this point forward. No longer does any organization have the person power to do it all themselves.
Right.
You have to figure out, how can we do this not only for the betterment of the organization, but also for the betterment of the community.
Right.
Because if you have the opportunity now to job out your marketing, job out your media, to job out your merchandising, all those different things, now you're actually changing the structure of the community economically.
Yes.
And I've been trying to, and I ask people all the time, some of my CEO friends, and say, well, what happened in the last 15, 20 years that all of a sudden that organizations think, hey, we'll just do it all in-house, or we'll go home, we'll get someone or some entity from another part of the world to do all this work. And how do you think that that's going to help build where you are? Right. It just doesn't make any sense. And they tell me all the time, it just comes down to the bottom line. It's just money. Right. Whereas I say, well, if we're developing an economic basis here, we don't have to go and chase money.
Right. Yeah.
We'll just stay right where we are. But that's probably why I do radio and I'm not a CEO.
I can see them looking at you, Jacque, like you're crazy. And you know what helped me, Jacque, when I just heard you say that, because sometimes I ramble and I do people like that the same way, especially with the youth. And I remember a good friend of mine, he told me, he said, Stacy, everybody don't think like you. So when you're breaking it down, you think they get it. He had to pull me to the side because I'm like, I don't understand. He says, you have to understand, everybody don't think like you. And that kind of helped me right there. But that way of thinking, Jacque, is a beautiful way of thinking. It's leadership. And I'm taught like that. I was just saying, I just took this John Maxwell course, and I'm certified life coach and leadership training. And I can go and train in leadership. And that's leadership thinking. That's leader mentality with the way you're thinking.
Thank you so much for that. And this isn't something that it's not just me. I mean, it's most of the people that I bring on the show. I mean, we're all in this together.
That's right.
And we've just got to figure out how do we organize all of us so that we can start doing more things like this. Because especially if you're here, and I've been saying this for weeks, Trenton, New Jersey is really the birthplace of America. I mean, people can argue all they want. George Washington was running. And if he didn't win the Battle of Trenton, his troops were gone and he was getting fired. He had to win the Battle of Trenton. He had to do it. And he did. He won. And he went on this winning streak. And that built our country. So for those who are in the listening audience, I would love to have a conversation with you. I mean, that is part of the spirit of this community. It's a fighting spirit. It's a community of people who want to do different things. And I'm sure it had a lot to do with the blood that was shed on the streets of Trenton, New Jersey when our nation was formed. And that spirit is here. And there's plenty of people like me. I'm not the only one. Most of my interviewees or my guests, they all feel the same way. We're right there. We're ready. We're ambitious. We just need to have the right group of people together, and we're willing to do it. So please send an email, Trenton365show@gmail.com, or the website, Trenton365.com. Contact WYMG. They'll put you in touch with me, and we can figure this out. I mean, the city of Trenton is less than 7.5 square miles. Number one. Number two, New Jersey is the most diverse state in the nation, one of the most wealthiest, and Mercer County is one of the wealthiest. If we can't fix any of the problems of racism, sexism, classism, poverty, hunger, mental illness, disease, religious issues, if we can't do it here, how can we expect some of these other states that don't have all the resources and things that we have? So that's my challenge to everyone in the listening and viewing audience. And I'm putting my money where my mouth is, man. Just all you got to do is call me and let's sit down. We'll have some food and drinks. I'd love to do that, and we can just talk about doing some things, and we can make a huge difference. We got a couple of minutes before we're up on our first break, and each of you, I'd like for you to each throw this in there, throw out the statement for this. What would you like to say to the children, the youth, and their parents or guardians about Isles Youth Build Institute?
So I would like to just say that many times by the time the young people come to us, the parents are tired. They've been through schools, they've been through teachers, they've been through programs, and I feel it. I think it's an honor for them to say, all right, Shenette, here, take my baby. There's no more I can do. So what I want them to know that Isles is a place for second, third, fourth, fifth chances for your young person. And sometimes it's a process. It takes a minute for people to get it. They have to bump their heads a few times and, have a couple of little bruises, but that's okay. We believe in their bounce back game, and as long as we have their support, the parent support, we can help your young people, unless they don't want to be helped.
Awesome. Stacy, we're going to have you lead off with that after the break. You're listening to the Trenton 365 show. I'm your host, Jacque Howard. This is WIMG 1300, and you're watching over WPHY, Channel 25 in Mercer County, New Jersey. We'll be back after a short break.
I'm a U.S. Army chaplain who knows how difficult it is to open a Bible and read it in the field. But the military Bible stick makes it easy to listen to the Word of God everywhere, even when I'm serving on deployments.
Military Bible Stick. What is it? The audio Word of God in a digital device, small enough to be used anywhere and tough enough for even the battlefield. See for yourself. Visit militarybiblestick.com. One brave warrior recently told us,
"When I'm unable to read my Bible in the field, I can use the Bible stick to get my fill of God's Word. It lifts me up in hard times."
hard times. Our men and women in uniform know a lot about hard times. They face difficulty, loneliness, and danger day after day. Strengthen, encourage, and carry them through with the gift of God's Word. Learn more at militarybiblestick.com.
Join New Hope Church of God for a revival in a park. Labor Day Monday, September the 5th at Columbus Park, 400 Hamilton Avenue, right here in the city of Trenton. They will be giving out free school supplies, free backpacks, free Bibles, free food, and there's lots of activities to do. Bounce houses, arts and crafts, prayer stations, health screening, fun with fitness, a gospel concert, the Word of God, and more. For more information, call 609-448-9492 or visit the website newhopecog.com. That's Revival in the Park, Labor Day Monday at Columbus Park, right there on the corner of Chestnut and Hamilton. Bring your children. Bring your neighbor's children. Come out and have a good time.
Remember in the beginning, when you first started to build a life for you and your family, you never imagined it would come to this. Instead of living your dreams, you're living with debt. In fact, it's smothering you. Now there's a way you can take back control with one simple call. If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you qualify to receive a free, no-obligation consultation on how to get rid of that debt for good. Call the Debt Helpline now. We work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. One simple call is all it takes to get the ball rolling to a debt-free life. Stop living with debt and start living your dreams. Call the Debt Helpline now.
800-709-4389. 800-709-4389. 800-709-4389.